Meanwhile, Lee Trevino was lurking 2 shots behind Yancey. Trevino was still searching for his first career tournament victory.
Here's the dramatic moment now, out on the fairway right now. Walking back from his ball in a black cap, red shirt, black pants, is Lee Trevino, our leader, is leading 4 over Bert Yancey. Lee started out 1 back. And a beautiful shot by Lee Trevino. He lies 3 there, looking for another birdie. He birdied 11 and 12 and parred. Birdie here to go 2 under and increase his lead to 6 shots. Lee has about a 10-footer. If Trevino wins, by the way, it would be his first win on the tournament. And like Jack Nicklaus, that was Jack Nicklaus's first win, the U.S. Open in 1962. And the $30,000 first prize money will increase his earnings to over $84,000. He's a very strong finisher, this fella. He's closed in tournaments this year with a 69, 64 at Pensacola, a 67, and a 69. He rolls it by 2, shakes his head. He says if he wins, he'll have a tequila party for the press. That is, if he wins. Has his par 5 to remain 1 under for this round and 5 under for the tournament. Now let's go to Bill Fleming at 7.
Made the birdie. So it's virtually head-to-head competition. They'll be just about within sight of each other all the time, particularly Trevino watching Nicklaus. Lee has about a 100-yard shot from here to the flag pin, which again is on the back of the green today, and if you're not careful you might fly over, although I think, Kerry, the wind is dying down a bit now.
It does seem like it is, Jim, but it might pick up again too. He shot right at it.
Strong enough. Look out. Fine shot by Lee Trevino.
And of course Mr. Nicklaus stood there and watched.
There is Trevino. As you said, he's not any more than 30 feet away from Jack Nicklaus as he watched that shot. And now he begins to concentrate on his own game again. Having marked his ball and cleaned it, he'll put it down again. Trevino 5 under and 1 under in today's round.
I'm sure Trevino's not going to putt until after Cootie shoots.
Trevino has had rounds of 69, 60. Boy from poor section of Dallas who dropped out of school in the 8th grade, was in the Marines, picked up a game of golf, became a driving range pro, and as we said, was working really for peanuts. When his wife talked him into trying to qualify for the Open last year, he did and finished 5th. There's a little one coming back, huh?
That wasn't his best effort, but I think a lot of people have misread that putt today. It keeps going to the right. You know, the remarkable thing, and certainly not trying to jinx anyone, he has a chance, I think, to become the only man to ever break 74 times in the National Open.
I think that's right. Well, he gets his par 4 and remains 5 under for the championship with 4 holes remaining. Again, Lee Trevino is watching it all on the 15th tee.
Doug Sanders said a little while ago, Jim, when he came through here, he said, they are not going to beat the little...
Here's Lee Trevino. There's the hole he's playing. Four-shot lead, 4 holes to play. He usually plays pretty quickly, but he seems to be just a bit more deliberate now.
He's going right straight at the flag.
He hit the flagstick. Lee Trevino came very close to putting that ball into the hole on the fly.
That's pretty good direction, isn't it, Jim? Catch him, but of course you never know. As Bill Fleming said a little while ago, I made a 7 at the 17th hole with an absolutely perfect drive in the 2nd round, and I think I was playing as well as I ever have. And Anything can happen.
He has not been unchallenged today, by the way. He started out one shot behind Yancey, of course, and at that point was 6 shots ahead of Nicklaus. He saw that lead over Nicklaus shrink to 2 shots at one point and then put on his own charge of birdies. He's earned it every inch of the way up to here.
Get in.
Oh, he makes a good pass at it every time, doesn't he?
You could not say he's lacking in boldness.
And that's why he's 5 under par for this tournament.
And he remains 5 under. A 4-shot lead for Lee Trevino, and we'll be back with more golf action at the 68th U.S. Open Golf Championship after this message.
Was for 67 today, 1 under, level with Yancey. And there's a picture of the hole. Yancey on the right, Trevino on the left. Trevino about to play now. Easier shot. Beautifully confident shot. He could have done it almost with 1 club less. That leaves him 35 feet from the hole, but he should get both. Comments from Gary Middlecoff, perhaps.
No, I was here.
What a wonderful turn this man has, and watch how he moves down through the ball with the left side of the body, keeping the head still down. The arms have full extension as he goes through, and his head comes up as he comes under the ball with his right shoulder. Finishes.
As Lee Trevino in what is probably now, I think, going to be the supreme day of his life. He's got a putt of about 35 or 40 feet. Generally breaks a bit to the right as it gets towards the hole. But he won't be thinking of holding this one. He'll be thinking of getting down in 2 for a safe par 4. Lee Trevino. Now go on. Now that really was a rather weak one. First we've seen him do. And he's 3.5 feet away from the hole. And here's a really crucial one coming up. If he missed this, it might just split his game apart. Oh, it's a beautifully confident putt. Wonderful. He doesn't seem to mind the thought of winning in the very slightest. And there's Lee Trevino having got his par 4 at the 6th.
On a 7-stroke lead over Nicklaus. After the first 3 holes, Yancey and Trevino were tied, and Nicklaus was only 3 strokes behind. So a 2-man battle turned suddenly into a wild 3-man scramble. And now that's changed once again to a 2-man struggle between Nicklaus and Trevino. And there is Lee, patiently plucking at the grass. Bent off to the right. And Trevino gets up, and I'm certain breathes a great sigh of relief. Whew, he says. A tap in for a birdie 4. For Nicklaus. Well, he knew he had to have it. He was bold with it. It certainly wasn't short. But just that slight, subtle break drove it off to the right. So as Nicklaus goes to the 18th, the drama now centers right down the middle of the fairway on 17, and Lee Trevino. Here's Yancey's shot coming up out of the rough and bounding into the trap on the left side that has caught so many golf balls here today. And as mentioned, this hole has not yielded a birdie yet. It came close just a few seconds ago. And now Trevino, having to come in about 220 yards. And he hits it very low, and as a matter of fact, I would say Byron Nelson, he probably mishit the shot a little bit. I don't think he intended to play it quite that low, do you?
No, I don't think he did either. He was talking yesterday, and he said he'd been having a little trouble getting his long irons up, so that was an indication of what he had really felt. That's where your confidence comes in. He has great confidence game, but not as best at this time with his long irons.
Well, let's go now to Chris Schenkel at 18.
As Trevino walks up the 72nd hole, as we go back to Bill Fleming.
And here is Lee Trevino, who has a wonderfully carefree approach to golf, a kind of gay caballero, and a most refreshing personality. He has never won a tournament. The closest he has ever come was at the Champions Golf Course in Houston, where he gave up a two-stroke lead to Roberto De Vicenzo on the last couple of holes. Strangely enough, that is where the United States Open Championship will be played in 1969, the Champions Course in Houston. He said, "I'll be back, even though I didn't win this one." He certainly is back today. He played it just a little bit shorter than he would like to. That is his third shot on this par 4 hole. So well remember that press conference following the tournament at Houston, the Houston International Champions Course, when he said, "Oh, I just have to accept those disappointments." Lee Trevino doesn't take very much time with these putts, as you've seen. He reads the green, steps up, and hits the ball. It's home. Lee Trevino saves the par. At 17, he remains 1 under par for the tournament and preserves his 4-stroke lead over Jack Nicklaus, and that just about does it. If I misspoke there, it was because of my extreme excitement. He's 5 under par for the tournament, 1 under par for today's round. Ole. Oh, he knew he had to have that.
And the defending champion finishes this great tournament at 1 under par. He is the leader in the clubhouse with a round of 67 today, in at 279. And now Bert Yancey, who is even, watches as Trevino will hit his second shot to this green.
Didn't get the ball up and out of the rough, Chris, and it stopped in the rough in the tall grass on the downslope. He's going to have 135 or 40 yards in this green yet. He must have a very difficult third shot to play now.
A 4-shot lead coming to the final hole in this great championship is an even par for the tournament.
Chris, you know, if my memory serves me correctly, Jack has not, since he's been in this tournament, has not been worse than third in all the Open Championships he's played in since he's been a pro.
There's Lee Trevino. This will be his third shot on this par 4, 18th.
What a great shot, Chris, that he played out of that. Boy, oh boy. The downslope, that long rough.
About 4 feet for a par.
That's right. We don't often use the word super, but that was a super shot.
Well, you know, this championship has had a lot of super golfers that have won it, like Bob Jones, Ben Hogan, the great Walter Hagen, Johnny Goodman, Johnny Farrell, Tommy Armour, and, of course, our own Byron Nelson. And now, Lee Trevino and Bert Yancey, along with Howard Hardin, president of the United States Golf Association, and Mr. Joe Dye, executive director. But there's the man of the hour, Lee Trevino, Horizon City, Texas. Listen. There is the young man who went to last year's Open at Baltusrol with $60 in his pocket. and he wound up 5th in the tournament and received $6,000 for doing it.
Chris, you know, this man, and since the tournament last year, starting the tournament last year, well, this tournament will have won well over $100,000. So he hasn't been just a flash in the pan since then.
No, I'd like to point out that in 65 rounds of golf this year on the tour, Trevino has been under 70 in 21.
Hole, birding 11 and 12 yesterday, and he turned around and did the same thing today. That got him out in front and really started him going. You always can look back on a championship and find 1 or 2 holes that have been good to you, and those are the ones I believe that Lee would say have been his greatest holes.
And 3rd behind Jack Nicklaus, and this man in a brilliant red shirt, and he has been just that hot.
You know, a red shirt and red socks and a red hot putter.
Kevin Quinn, his caddy, has been really a busy man today. At this moment, he's just looking on. This is for a par 4. There is your United States Open champion. And Byron, among the many, many things that an Open championship means to a man, and you have experienced it, Lee Trevino is the first man in the history of this great championship to better par on all 4 rounds.
Well, he actually finished just sensational golf. Just had the 4 that he made here was one of the most sensational 4s I've ever seen.
And of course, finishing at 5 under, he ties the record of the Open for 4 rounds at 275, set by Jack Nicklaus just 1 year ago. With a pause in the action here at Oak Hill Country Club, we'll pause and be back with more of the exciting competition in just a moment. Finishes at 301 in the championship. The winner in at 275, Lee Trevino. You're looking at Trevino, Mrs. Trevino, watching this championship back in Texas. And this is the boy that has added $30,000 and now has earned $84,426 thus far this year. And there is Arnold Palmer with him. The 1968 United States Open Golf Championship from Oak Hill Country Club in Rochester, New York, continues in 1 moment.
You're known as a man who likes to talk, Lee. Here's your chance.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. Right now, I'm all tied up for words. I'll tell you, I didn't think I would ever be tied up for words, but right now, I'm kind of choking up a little bit. I got goose pimples all over me, and I'm a little nervous, and I just don't know what happened. It was one of those weeks. I couldn't do anything wrong. I drove the ball well. I scrambled well. I even slept well this week, so I had everything going for me, and I played real well.
What about today? On the front 9, when Nicklaus was charging, the lead was down to 2. You're still battling Yancey. Were there any qualms?
Well, I went out there today to battle the golf course. I was trying to break 70. You know, I've shot 4 rounds now in the 60s, and I think that's a record also. I was checking up on the record book. But I bogeyed the first hole, and I got a good par on the second hole, and I started scrambling around there. And then I birdied 11 and 12, which I also did this yesterday. And before I knew it, instead of being a stroke back, I was 4 strokes in front. So
Lee, can you in about 20 seconds say what this means to you?
Boy, I don't know what it means. I know it means a whole bunch of money. That's all I can say. But it means a great deal to me. Not ever winning a golf tournament, and especially the United States Open. This is the greatest golf tournament in the world, and I'm proud to win it.
You have also won $30,000 today. It was just a little over a year ago. You had that $30-a-week job. Congratulations on a great personal achievement, Lee.
Chris Schenkel summed it up best when he said that Lee Trevino's victory at the Open served as proof that the game of golf is a reflection of life. Like he did in so many areas of his life, Trevino caused quite a stir in winning his first U.S. Open title. Not only was it his first major championship, but it also marked his first win as a professional. In addition to tying Nicklaus's record for the best 72-hole Open score, Trevino had become the first player in U.S. Open history to shoot under 70 in all 4 rounds. What's even more remarkable is that 14 months prior to the '68 championship, Lee Trevino was working as a handyman at a local golf course in El Paso. This was just the beginning for Trevino. 2 years later, he was the tour's leading money winner, and in 1971, its Player of the Year. In June of that year, he won a 2nd U.S. Open championship, as well as a British in July. With his unusual swing and lighthearted manner and very un-country club-like background, the Merry Mex had become a living, breathing symbol for the working-class golfer.